Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and in this video, we are going to be breaking down the last two episodes of Season 1 of Superman and Lois. And with me, to help me do that, is Vic.
That's me. How's it going, everybody?
All right, before we get into breaking this down, we do want to let you know we do have a podcast. Yes, it's very true. Everybody's got a podcast, and we do, in fact, have one. You can listen to it. Available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. But if you want to join in the chat while we record it live, you can join us every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. The link is down in the description down below. Come by, hang out, and join the chat and have some fun. Have some fun with us. Currently talking Titans, DC's Titans, as well as Marvel's What If. So come by every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Also, while you're looking down at the description for that link, make sure you hit the subscribe button on this video. It does help us out, and you won't miss any videos as long as you hit that little notification bell. That's supposed to work. They say it does. I don't know if it does, but just do it anyway.
They say it does.
and leave some comments and let us know what you think as well too about our thoughts and what you think where the show could go from here. So, Vic, without further ado, let's break this down.
There we go. So this episode of Superman and Lois, getting it right, is titled
over. I think you got the title right.
Is titled The Eradicator. I forgot what I was about to say for a second.
That was episode 14.
Episode 14.
That's the title of episode 14.
Yes, The Eradicator. So in this episode, we are kind of seeing the aftermath of what's happened with Talro, aka Morgan Edge, destroying most of what everyone covets about Smallville. The businesses are struggling. Everyone's losing money. The town is basically dying, which is exactly what's happened to all of the other towns that Edge has taken over and quote unquote helped. And it's exactly what Lois said was going to happen. When they were having all those meetings, he's like, he comes in, he destroys the town, then he leaves, and they're like, it's not going to happen to us. But the people of Smallville were like, we're good. But now they are rebelling. Christie's got an offer for the Gazette. I'm not quite sure why, because if the town is failing and everyone is contemplating leaving and the mines are closed, who wants that paper?
Yeah.
I mean, unless they just want the name. I mean, the Smallville Gazette, maybe they just want the name.
Yeah,
which is
I never
possible.
thought about that. I never thought about that, but that is true. It's like if the town is failing and everybody's trying to, it's who would want that? That's a stupid. Whoever that investor is really dumb.
Yeah. So, but I mean, branding and names are worth as much as actual businesses. So, I mean, maybe that's what it is. The Cushings, Lana and her family. They are planning on leaving. They've given up.
His name was Peter.
I think they avoided that. But yeah, Kyle got an offer in Bristol County, which is a couple counties over. Actually, it's more than that probably, because they said it was like 2 hours away. He gets an offer to take over as the chief of the fire department there. The firefighter who he helped get her job, she's like, they called me and told me that you were trying to get a job there, and I gave you a good reference. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so they're thinking about leaving, which is good, but then
they go to the town.
Happens.
Well, they go to the town hall meeting. And the town hall is just like, they're completely against the Department of Defense. The DOD is there. They still don't like that they have a presence in Smallville. They think that the DOD is the reason why businesses are failing. I'm like, if anything, the DOD has like an extra 200 people in that town who should be spending money in that town. Food, at the restaurants, at the stores, like all of that stuff is all there. So I can't imagine that that's actually the problem. Yeah. But they're like, the DOD, we need to know what's really going on, blah, blah, blah. Why is our town shutting down? What's going on? And of course, Captain Lane is like, or General Lane is like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can't give out Department of Defense secrets. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah,
we're trying to make sure you guys are safe, but you're causing more problems than you're helping. And of course, everyone just starts questioning him.
I get it that they want some kind of answers, but at the same time, they have to be realistic and realize, you know what? This is the army. They're not going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
Because, the wrong person hears their plan, and guess what? Then they have a way to counter whatever the plan is.
Yeah. Well, Chrissy goes hard to the paint after Sam, and she's like, "Tell us the truth about what's really going on." And he's like, "I can't really tell you what's happening. It's it's against government secrets or whatever." And then that dude that blew up the Goodwill Center, his mom shows up and she's like, "You need to answer these questions about why my son died and blah 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 blah." And he's like, "I didn't kill your kid. Like, Morgan Edge killed your kid." Like,
yeah.
I still don't understand like why they're all going after him now when Morgan Edge is the one who did it. They know Morgan Edge is responsible for it, but they're still going after him like he's supposed to have an answer as to why Morgan Edge did it. And the only thing, they just needed
a reason for there to be some kind of clash.
Yeah, the only thing
as lame as that is,
the only thing that makes sense in the fact that the DoD is involved is that they aren't giving them any information about what's going on with Morgan Edge now. The fact that Morgan Edge has escaped gets out. Morgan Edge then breaks out Leslie Larr. And they end up going to Metropolis, which takes some of the trouble out of General Lang's hand because he's got to dip out. He's like, "I gotta go. Sorry. The super people that you're worried about right now are destroying Metropolis." Mm-hmm. So he heads out.
Clark heads that way.
Yep.
With he took Lois with him, right?
No, he just took off.
Doesn't she? Oh, she ends up there though.
Yeah, she follows. Which apparently they're only like 10 minutes away from the city. I guess I don't.
This is a question I posed. Like, several
I've never understood how they managed to get like they just teleport. Like I'm not sure, but
I don't understand.
No, but they take off. John Henry heads over there as well. They had been talking about the fact that they needed to defend themselves against him anyway, but they didn't tell anybody that he escaped, so no one was prepared. No one was ready for this attack. And him and Leslie show up in the center of Metropolis, and they're like, "What do we do now?" And they're like, "Well, we just got to capture them." And then they find out that it's not about just capturing them because he's already empowered a bunch of humans and turned them into Kryptonians. Because the Eradicator is no longer a device. He is now the Eradicator.
That's my nickname.
The Eradicator.
Mm-hmm. That's dominant. No, he ends up basically resurrecting all these people, so to speak.
Yeah.
They end up start floating. And so between all of them, they start recreating what we saw, or what John Henry saw on his Earth,
right?
Which is a bunch of floating people with laser beams shooting out.
But it's not Superman.
No, not
it's
this
Morgan
Edge.
Edge.
Not part of it.
It's Tal Rowe who's doing it. Mm-hmm. And as they're fighting all the subjects and everything, they're trying to get them under control. But while all this is going on, the general runs and gets the twins and Sarah from the party that they were at, because again, no one pays attention to these teenagers in this town who are just running around buying kegs of beer, drinking, and getting up to all kinds of craziness.
I swear, this is like at least the 5th time this season that they've been able to easily get alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't really, in a small town like that, I find it hard to believe.
I'm figuring that whoever's selling these kids alcohol, all of the parents of that town know that person. They would have put a stop to this by now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they managed to get away with it. But while all this is going on, they're basically just destroying Metropolis. And they know that they need to get the kids when
Lois
that's another thing. That's another time flip too, because all of that is going on during the day. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. So all this is happening in Metropolis.
They're at the party during the day. The kids are at the party during the day,
right?
And the TV's on,
right?
And because Lois had already gone to Metropolis,
right?
and when she was there,
She told.
somehow she went to the top of this building, and where
Well, while all that was because while all that was going on, the head editor of the newspaper that she used to work for, he
oh,
was
that's right.
down there and he's like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" And she's like, "I don't know. We need to tell people what's going on so they can get to safety." He's like, "Do you have a camera unit somewhere?" He's like, "Yeah, up on the roof of the building." I'm like, "Oh, this is not good." Like as soon as he said that, I was like, they're gonna kill off Lois." But she goes up there and she finds one of the one of the reporters up there with a camera, and she's like, "Do you have a mic?" She's like, "In my bag," and she starts reporting and telling them what's going on. Meanwhile, the boys see it on the TV at the party, and they're like, "Crap! That's how Mom died in John Henry's world. Like I saw this happen." And then as they're saying it, you see Leslie Lar come up over the background. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna get ugly real fast." And the boys are freaking out at this point, obviously, because they know what happened in another timeline. Basically, the general comes to get them, but before Leslie Lar can kill Lois, as she's getting to the point, the exact same report that she was doing on top of the building when she got killed in John Henry's Earth. As she starts getting to that point where she's about to get taken down, John Henry is like, "Oh, hell no." And he hucks that hammer, which never misses, by the way, and he just tallywhaps Leslie Lar with that thing.
She got hit like May getting hit by Reinhardt.
Oh my god, it was ridiculous. But he saved her. She survives. Sam comes and gets them. Now, here's that time flip I was talking about. When all this is going on and they're watching this live, it is sunny out. It is, God looks like midday for the most part. Mm-hmm. Then as they are driving home from that party to the farm, it's nighttime because Tal Rowe lands in front of them and the general hits him with the car and they go flipping off into oblivion, yet it's nighttime.
Yeah. Come on, editors! You gotta work with this continuity here.
How does time in this world work? One, Superman Tal Rowe can get from point A to point B in a matter of seconds. So if it was daytime while they were watching the whole thing go down with Leslie Lar, he took off shortly after that happened, and he lands in Smallville, and it's dark outside. Where is Smallville in relation to Metropolis? How long does it take a super person to get from point A to point B? And why does the time change so quickly in Smallville?
I think it's bad editing.
Well, while all this is going down, again, they keep putting weapons in Jonathan's hands. And they are going to turn him into something. I don't know what's happening or what they're planning on doing with him, but they're slowly trying to turn him into John Henry Irons, which I don't think they're going to do that, but they are trying very hard to make him into something. I'm not sure what it is yet, but the general's like, reach in the glove compartment. There's a gun in there. Click it on. It's a kryptonite bullet. I'm like, dude, you're walking around with a kryptonite gun and you didn't tell your daughter? Again, you're going to get in trouble for this. He takes aim, he fires, and he misses because in this world, Superman does not get hit and knocked out by everything like they do in Flash, who gets hit with anything that's thrown at him. And he flies out of the way. He busts in. He grabs Jordan, who was his target the entire time. Jordan says, "Oh, crap." He proclaims his love to Sam, and he's gone.
He said the 3 words.
Yep. I mean, he thought
But in all fairness, I think that was Superman actually said that right before he got taken by his brother.
Yep.
Like a few episodes back, he did the exact same thing.
It was a mirror. It was a mirror to that situation. Good point. Yeah, all of the craziness was basically a distraction for him to get a hold of Jordan, because Jordan has true Kryptonian blood in him, and he wants him for a purpose as of yet unknown.
But so does his brother, though.
This is true, but he hasn't manifested any powers.
Yeah.
I mean,
not yet anyway.
If you you needed so, and this is the part that I also don't understand. So he made more subjects, right?
Yeah.
He is the Eradicator, but the Eradicator needed the ex-kryptonite in order to give those people actual powers. Like, the Eradicator just put the consciousness into them, but the ex-kryptonite gave them the Kryptonian powers.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any ex-kryptonite.
Yeah, I don't know how.
So those 4 subjects in Metropolis shouldn't have been able to fly, but whatever. But I think, like, when he goes to take him, he's like, I need someone that I don't. He doesn't have a way of getting them powered. So if he takes Jordan, he knows that he's going to have powers. And then we move into The Last Son of Krypton, episode 15, which, by the way, directed by Tom Cavanaugh.
Yes, I did notice that. So good for him. I think he directed a few episodes of Flash as well.
Much better directed than the episodes of Flash, by the way.
Well, it's Flash. It's the show is like on a whole nother level compared to Flash.
Yeah.
Not that it's perfect, but it's
right.
It's a step above.
So as I said, this is episode 15, Last Sons of Krypton, referencing both Kal-El and Tal-Rho as the Sons of Krypton, the actual true Sons of Krypton.
Didn't Krypton have 2 sons? I mean, literally, like up in the sky.
Yes, I think it actually had more than 2. But yeah, and they worship the sun, by the way, their sons. So Zeta Rho grabs Jordan. He eradicates him and implants his father's consciousness into Jordan. So Tal-Rho eradicates Jordan and puts Zeta Rho into his consciousness. Jordan is now Zeta Rho. Zeta Rho now has superpowers, is young again, and is ready to take over the world. And he orders.
I have to make a comment. To make a comment on this. I did not like the voiceover dub. I'm sorry. I know it's probably difficult to do what they did.
To give him the father's voice.
Yeah, I just didn't like it.
I think that he did a really good job emoting all of the, like, because basically you can tell that he just said the lines, but he emoted them so that he seemed angry and all that kind of stuff. I think Jordan did a good job acting the lines, but like you said, the dub of them trying to create the echo speech, I guess I would call it. It wasn't solid. It wasn't solid. But I thought that Jordan did a really good job playing Zeta Rho. So I think the idea was they knew Superman wouldn't go all out against his son. So if Zeta has control of Jordan, Superman's is at a disadvantage automatically, and that was going to give them the time that they need and the distraction that they need in order for Tal to go back to Smallville and create the Krypton Defense Council. Which he goes back, he attacks Smallville, and when he goes, he kidnaps 6 of the DoD soldiers instead of anyone from the city. And the whole point of getting people from Smallville was because they've all been exposed to kryptonite and ex-kryptonite, so they are better candidates for accepting the consciousness of the Kryptonians. But he took...
Yeah, and I think it was actually questioned as to why that happened.
It doesn't make any sense.
I thought Lois said, well, why did she, they're not from here. Why wouldn't he take somebody from here? And they just kind of
glossed it over.
The question away. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, maybe they wanted soldiers. Like, it's a defense council, so maybe they wanted, military type people, but it still doesn't make a lot of sense. But he eradicates them, turns them into the council, and then they take off.
Meanwhile,
Superman goes crazy trying to find Jordan.
Yeah.
He flies up into space. He's like listening everywhere. He can't find him anywhere. Everyone's getting despondent. Lois is losing her shit. And then Superman's like, I'm gonna try it one more time, and that's when Zeta Rho like lets Jordan scream for his father because he hears Superman yelling for Jordan finally. And when he hears that, then he lets Jordan yell back for his dad, and that's where he comes and finds him, and he has to fight Jordan, or Zeta Rho, I should say.
Yes.
In order to get
they
back.
fight on a volcano.
Yeah,
So it's very Star Wars-esque. I was brought back to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And what's his name, Anakin.
Right.
But yeah, I thought this whole thing looked kind of dumb too.
Yeah. Zeta goes to not Zeta, Tal-Rho, Edge goes back to while everything's going on, while everyone's going crazy. So the council is running around fighting Superman. Is that right? And
well, yeah, they're fighting. Well, no, here's what happened.
Oh, that's right. They captured Zeta Rho.
They tried to attack Superman. Superman fought most of them off, and then chased Jordan. Jordan flew off, and then he followed him, and then that's where they end up at the volcano.
Right, but he ends up taking Jordan down. They end up knocking him out. They take him back to the farm. They don't do anything to secure him. And mysteriously, out of nowhere, Lois have the technology that Edge used on Superman in order to get into his mind. I'm like, where'd you get that from? Like, did he just leave it laying around somewhere? Like, how'd you end up with that?
I don't know where this came from, because my first thought was the same stuff that they were going to use, or that they used a couple of episodes ago with that whole thing.
Yeah.
But
they basically just turned a set of headphones into a headband. And, all of a sudden they've got technology that they could use to get into his mind. And when they do that, she starts trying to manipulate him in order to make Jordan fight off Zeta Rho, who is inhabiting his mind. While all that is going on, the DoD Defense Council of Krypton are all attacking Superman and John Henry. And John Henry is running out of juice the entire time this is going on. He's losing power. So like he's at 50%, then he's at 50, then he's at 51%, then he's back at 50%. then he's gone down. He's like losing power. He's got to get to a position where he can like take out the council. And he ends up what's his face? While he's fighting, the whole point of him fighting the council is so that Edge can go back to the mines, and he breaks through the mine, and there's a gigantic room full of X-Kryptonite. Like, they were trying to dig up these little patches of X-Kryptonite, but apparently there was one gigantic geode just under the surface of that mine. And he breaks in there, and he's surrounded by X-Kryptonite, and apparently he was trying to resurrect Krypton through that. Like, I don't know what that process entails, but he
apparently knows how to do it.
I don't know what he was doing exactly. Like, was he gonna empower the crystals, like use them to focus? I don't know. I don't know what he was doing, but the whole idea was he wasn't trying to create the Kryptonian world. He was trying to resurrect all of the Kryptonians that he had stored inside of him, which is what I was assuming he was trying to do, but I don't know what the X-Kryptonite that he was in had to do with anything. But while all that's going on, John Henry Irons is up in space, and he's losing oxygen. He's about to die, and he finally locks on, and he hucks that hammer again, and basically terminal velocity destroys Tal-Rho. Like, okay.
So he's dead, which ends up at the same time that's going on. Jordan is. He's got Jonathan up in the air, like gonna try and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But Lois is in Jordan's head and ends up convincing him, or gets him to fight through everything.
Yeah.
And he ends up coming, waking up, realizing he's got Jonathan up in the air. They float back down. They all hug it out. And that's when Superman and John Henry show back up, because John Henry, after he launched his hammer, he or was it did he throw the hammer?
Yeah, he threw the hammer,
Yeah.
and then he basically he lost consciousness.
He lost consciousness as he
the
was falling back into Earth.
well, he lost
Superman
consciousness
came
and he
through.
lost power. So
Yeah.
he was gonna just bomb into the Earth somewhere and die. Superman comes through and saves him. But there's one other thing that I kind of forgot about. During that party, Jonathan was talking to that girl again. The one that was kind of fished for information from him. And we find out a little bit about her background. And we find out that her father is in jail in Metropolis and that she was a new girl there for the past 2 years. Now, I have it. This is my crackpot for this episode. So hear me out. They made a reference to the fact that Jonathan's gun that they gave him was created by that crackpot inventor that they arrested in the second episode. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that guy that was creating the stuff to defeat Superman. I think
that's his daughter?
I have a feeling, because they're like, oh, my dad's in jail. I have a feeling that that's his daughter. And that's how they're tying her into him, which is how Jordan ends up being, like, because they gave him this gun, like they keep handing him these weapons. That's why I'm saying, like, there's gonna be something that's going on with with Jonathan, that has to do with the fact that they keep giving him all of these different special weapons and all this stuff, and like trying to introduce him of being some sort of I don't know if it's going to be a sidekick, but they're doing something with him, and I can't figure out what it is. But I feel like that girl's father is going to end up being that guy, and he's going to end up using her to get to Jonathan, to get to Lois, not realizing that Superman is Clark. So
I think you're right, and if you are right, it will go on
my
to
record.
another thing that I called, because I said that there's something with her. There's more to it than that. She's going to end up turning evil,
right?
Or be evil in the first place. But we end the episode with
Superman going and getting the pieces of his father's crystal.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And burying it under a tree, which I'm pretty sure is going to end up turning into something. They're going to end up with a Fortress of Solitude for Jordan underneath of that tree. Watch. I bet it's going to happen.
Possibly. So then John Henry's like, all right, dude, I'm going to go.
I'm going to peace out, go find my sister on this earth, who by the way, is going to freak the F out when I walk up and she sees I'm alive, since my version of me on this world is dead.
So I'll have a lot of explaining to do. Then all of a sudden the radar starts going off.
Yeah, she starts going haywire.
A ship crashes right in front of them. It's a good thing that they were out of the way.
Right.
And out pops his daughter from his Earth.
Right.
Convenient!
Dude, literally, like, when he was leaving, I was like, man, I hope next season they do something with his daughter, like he goes back or she comes here or something. And then right as I sent that to you, the ship comes. I'm like, well, maybe I don't have to wait. Because as soon as that ship came through. But here's the kicker. She's going to tell him whether or not Superman survived, whether or not Superman was taken out when he went through that portal. Because remember, he said Superman was trying to break into the ship. They showed him trying to break into the ship, but then he went through the portal and he thought that may have gotten rid of Superman. But if she came through that same kind of portal, she's going to tell him what's actually going on in his world. But the best part of this is when she's like, oh, Dad, he's like, holy cow, you're alive, because he thought she was dead, because he thinks his entire world has been destroyed. And if she's there, his world's not gone, which means he's been on a fool's errand in the first place. Like, you would have felt real shitty if this had ended it differently. She shows up and tells you, "Oh, Superman didn't destroy our world." But
I'm gonna put something else in your another idea out there.
Okay.
What if she just happened to get through before it exploded or whatever happened to it, and that other Superman came through with her?
That's what I'm thinking. Is that Superman?
And now now season 2 is going to involve Bizarro Superman.
Right. So I don't know about Bizarro. But
that's what I'm calling it.
Okay. But she shows it. She gets there. She hugs it out with Pops. And then she looks over Pop's shoulder and realizes, hold on, Mom? Awkward.
Wait, Dad, did you die? Am I dead now?
I'm confused. How is Mom here?
What is these other
You
weird
know,
people.
you went to another world that has alternate versions of yourself. Why do you not think she's here? The problem is that on this Earth, you were never born, little girl.
Well, something else to think about is now we have a young Superman. We have basically a young John Henry and her now together. Plus, you have Jonathan and whatever he's going to be. We're already starting to build up a young cast of characters here for a spinoff.
Yeah,
Just saying.
yeah. I mean, that's
Just gonna put it out there.
it's something interesting. It's definitely gonna make for, because
Not to mention
Jonathan.
Jonathan's fake girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jonathan's fake girlfriend's gonna end up being a bad guy, like you said.
That's what I mean.
Actually, I don't think she's gonna end up being a bad guy. I think she's gonna end up being used by her bad guy dad and not realize she's a bad guy, and then she's gonna end up being a good guy. But she doesn't have any powers or anything, so, and she's not super smart, obviously. But we'll see what happens. It's an interesting. It's an interesting way to end things. I was super happy. I'm glad that I didn't have to wait till next season. But now I know that next season is going to be. It's got to be something crazy because she's here, and if she's here, that leaves the possibility that so is John Henry Superman, and that's going to be ridiculous. So we'll see what happens from there.
All right. We are going to end this episode. We do want to thank you for watching, and be sure to check out the other videos we have on the channel. We just put out also another episode of Stargirl as well as Bad Batch. So, on behalf of Vic,
that's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya.